Hi, this is Nadine Abdel Ghaffar, the founder of Culturvator and Art D'Egypte. Welcome to our podcast, Culturvator Conversations, where we explore the worlds of art, design, and culture. How it all started. I was born and raised in Alexandria. I must say I'm a big mix. My mom is French Egyptian from Coptic heritage, which is a long legacy. Hopefully soon we're going to be doing the book on Iskandar Pasha Fahmi. That is, I think, well, whenever I get anything, I get knighted, I get anything, my mom says it's the genes. So we'll see. Recently discovered some Greek roots as well. My dad is also Turkish Egyptian. I was born and raised in Alexandria. That holds a very special place in my heart because Alexandria is truly a cultural city and you can still feel it until today. No matter what happened to Alexandria, but you can still feel this cultural energy. I was lucky to be surrounded by very interesting people since I was a kid. So my parents' friends were Dr. Muhammad Awad, who's done so many great things. He was also the savior of heritage buildings in Alexandria. Dr. Hossein Rashwan, who's an incredible figure in the art world. He's dedicated so many years of his life. He's created the first catalogue raisonné for an artist like Mahmoud Saeed, Abdel Ghazar, and now working on Aimé Azar. Also, I must say from the French side, Jean-Yves Empereur, the famous archaeologist that created a whole research center in Alexandria that has been there for over 20 years. And I'm happy to work with them again. I was impressed and fascinated when I was a kid to go on excavation sites and see all those different layers of history that we have. So we're very lucky to be in a country where you have 7,000 years of civilization. And honestly, I think Egypt represents that. Egypt is maybe one of the only countries where people would come to Egypt and become Egyptianized. So the French communities, Italians, Greeks were all, in a way, influenced the society, but also got influenced by Egypt. So the whole story started there. I got to know a lot of artists growing up in Alexandria. Then, to cut the long story short, I was working as an art advisor, so advising different people from around the world to buy Egyptian art and start making collections on Egyptian art. So starting from modern artists. One of the artists that also has fascinated me is Mohammed Nagy and the whole Nagy family, which I personally know. And of course, we represent their portfolio. Mohammed Nagy is an example of an Egyptian that in the 30s has been to France, has met Claude Monet in Giverny, and has also won the Golden Prize at the Salon de Paris. And at that time, there was Giacometti and Picasso, and he was an Egyptian artist, and he won a prize. So this just shows the ties with Egypt and the rest of the world. And I think this is what has always been at the back of my mind to do what I'm doing today, is to create these connections between Egypt and the rest of the world. So in 2017, I decided to go to the Minister of Antiquities at that time at the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir and said, okay, I have a project where I will bring in people from around the world. I will bring press from around the world, and I will create this dialogue between heritage and contemporary art. And that's what actually happened. It was a crazy idea. Nobody believed me at the beginning. And they were like, why? What is contemporary art? Also in a place where we don't have really museums of contemporary art. You don't see contemporary art in public spaces. So that was a first. And I was very lucky that at that time, the minister was Dr. Khaled El-Anani, who has studied in France and understood the value of repurposing heritage places and giving them a voice through something contemporary. And actually, Mohammed Abla was one of the artists at that time. It was only Egyptian artists. So it was called Eternal Light, and it showed the transcendence we have between our past and our present. Because at the end of the day, contemporary art is a lens of society today. At the beginning, nobody believed that this would work. It was a crazy idea. Who's this girl? Why is she taking the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir? It's 2017. People are, a bit reluctant to come to Egypt after everything that happened with the revolution. And this is in the middle of Tahrir at night. And the whole journey behind it was incredible because the idea was repurposing and reviving heritage. So through this initiative, I was able to create a public-private partnership and to regain the confidence of the private sector to help the public sector. So basically in 2016, I started seeing that a lot of funds are going to create a new museum, but the old museum was not being taken care of. The idea sparked at that time to merge heritage and contemporary art, which were two things growing up in Alexandria and being exposed to archaeological sites and contemporary art as well. I thought it was the best pairing is to merge those two together. And for me, this is an incredible curatorial statement and curatorial pairing to have this transcendence, to show how we came today to this contemporary artwork through our roots, and all the Egyptian artists and international artists, of course, are kind of influenced by our ancient civilization. So that crazy idea started at that time. And I didn't know how to do it. I was all alone. I had at that time no team. So I knocked on all doors, and it was quite a challenge, of course, because it was a first. And the idea was to bring in people from the rest of the world to come see the art in our home, in our country, in those walls. And it was incredible because we had some incredible artists like Ghada Amer, Yusuf Nabil, Mohammed Abla, Farouk Hosni. We had really incredible Egyptian artists. We attracted so much press. It was insane. It was the first time I stand and do so many interviews. And everyone was hungry for this kind of cultural manifestation. And this merge and creating, we were really the initiation of public-private partnerships in Egypt. So not only did we touch the art and society and heritage and cultural tourism, because at the end of the day, we invited 300 guests from around the world, from museum directors to foundations. We even had Isabella Gianni, the French actress, and it was incredible to take over the museum at night. It was the first time that they started doing a nocturnal opening for such an event. But the journey throughout was insane because we managed to get lighting to do all the main halls lighting. So I talked to an international company, lighting company, that is specialized in conservation and lighting. Because of course, if you use halogen light, it eats up the antiquities. But this is proper conservational lighting. And I was impressed with the amazing team of the museum. Those young engineers, when we had them do like training courses in this lighting company, once we set up all the lighting. And of course, it was given as an in-kind donation to the government and the museum. But what impacted me the most was what happened with the people around, from the engineering department at the museum, the workers, the cleaning ladies were like hugging me because for the first time, everything, was incredible and lit, and all the artifacts were lit, and they were so proud. So from that day, I felt that, wow, this is an impacting everyone that is working around us. This reverberates. When you touch so many people and so many different parts of the community, it really reverberates because 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. What we're doing is insane. Contemporary art is not something that was really, out there in a public space where you can go to a roundabout or go to art festivals on the streets of Cairo. So that was first. And year on year, this initiative grew. So the second exhibition was in the palace of Prince Muhammad Ali Tawfiq. He was an incredible art collector. He was an artist. He loved music. He was a collector. And the whole Manial Palace is different halls, and each hall comes from a different country. So one is Syria, one is Turkey, the Golden Hall. And through his stories, the artists started creating artworks that are site-specific. So this is what we're strong at. They're curated exhibitions. So each exhibition has a certain theme and curatorial concept. So the artists start digging into the history of those places and create a special artwork that is in dialogue with this space. And through that, I also discovered different layers of our history that I didn't know. So what is different is that they're curated exhibitions. So we create a curatorial direction, and that's why each one has a different title. So with Prince Muhammad Ali, the title was Nothing Vanishes, Everything Transforms. And it really talks about how there's a metamorph of things. You know, he was an incredible person who would open the doors of the palace to the public on public holidays. He would have an orchestra that would play to the public. So he actually inspired me to open the doors and to start doing public talks. So because we had very important people on our board and professors from different universities, we had at that time the head of the Louvre Paris, for instance. We had Rose Isa, who's an incredible curator based in the UK. So all these amazing people would give public lectures open to the public, where we announce on our social media, guys, this day, this person is speaking at that place and you're free to attend, completely free of charge. So creating another bigger impact. So the year after was Historic Cairo. Historic Cairo is insane because it's the longest lived in street in Egypt. It's 1,050 years old, and people actually live in heritage homes. That was called Reimagine Narratives. For me, the walls would speak to the people. It's a street that is very vibrant. It was a very challenging exhibition because, as we were talking before, the kind of art we have is not like the straightforward painting or sculpture. It is installations, and it's very conceptual. So to the public, it was a bit shocking, you know. Even my own mother in one of the exhibitions was like, "You forgot dirty mattresses on the floor." I'm like, "No, this is the artist and this is an installation." So it was also quite shocking to the public to see things that is not common to see here in our society. But the whole idea was to go down to the streets and not intimidate anyone, not be in a space in a certain posh area where you have to ring a doorbell to go in and look at art and feel, you know, pressured that you have to buy art. This is where the idea of democratizing art came. So the core of our mission is to democratize art and go to the people, to the public. And in 2019, our mission to do social work and outreach program was even more ambitious. So not only did we have free talks, but we also created a program called Guardians of Heritage. So I saw that this street was filled with very young, incredible people, but at the end of the day, they're wasting their energy on things. And I'm there for 1 year. I'm cleaning the spaces. I'm putting up lighting. But when I go, what will be happening to these spaces? So again, to create a more sustainable model, we created Guardians of Heritage. So having young people from the street understand the value of what they have. Some of them didn't know the history of Qalawun complex or Beit al-Sahimi or all these spaces. So the whole idea was to train those young people, and they were explaining to all the ministers. They were in interviews. They were so proud of being, you know, so empowered. And that is when we received the UNESCO patronage for the first time. So in 2019, since 2019, we have been under the patronage of the UNESCO from the National Commission and from Paris as for our outreach programs. Because at the end of the day, UNESCO has an important convention, which is the 2005 Convention to the Protection of Cultural Expressions. The diversity of cultural expressions. So it's also very important because through art, you brought in communities, you created an outreach program. We've also made it possible for people. My friends were coming to Mu'izz Street and telling me, Nadine, oh my God, this is beautiful. How did we not know that we had something so beautiful? So not only was this impressive to the rest of the world, but even to us here in a lot of Egyptians didn't even know these places. So we created this movement. So since 2019, because we were successful for 3 editions, it created this movement in Egypt that, guys, we can do it. We should use these. We have an abundance of heritage spaces. We should repurpose them. We should revive them and give them a new voice. And through something contemporary, you bridge the gap between the old and the new. So the journey has been bumpy, of course. But in 2020, I decided, okay, for the past 3 editions, it's been Egyptian artists, and so many artists from around the world are asking me, Nadine, we want to be part of this. So I decided to take on the pyramids. And that was an insane challenge because it was so intimidating, even for me, for the artists, for everyone. We were the first to have the guts, after 4,500 years to say, okay, it makes sense that there's a contemporary art exhibition that would take place at the foot of the pyramids, this iconic monument that withstood, the challenges of so many years. Everyone in the world knows what a pyramid is. And at the same time, I have to, it's a World Heritage Site, so it really belongs to the world. And it's a way of bringing people together. First off, I got the okay, but then I had a backlash from a lot of archaeologists that this is insane and that how would you put a structure next to the structure? And it took so much time to go around this whole thing and to explain. And this is what taught me to be very patient, to try and explain to people in a different way and to try and explain to all these archaeologists that were opposed that this is actually the best fit. It's an incredible pairing and it's a dialogue, it's a conversation between the world and this incredible civilization. It is not a competition. Nobody can compete with the pyramids, and it's a proper dialogue. But my God, the first edition was a challenge because literally a month before the exhibition, I had some of the decision makers tell me, no, we don't think that this will go through. So I learned to also try and create a whole circle of co-creators and bring in as many people as possible on board. So I was lucky enough to have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that has been incredible support to bring our voice to everywhere in the world. The Ministry of Antiquities, of course, Culture and Tourism. But when you see the result, it looks like so easy and no challenges. But in reality, it's such a challenge. I think of myself and the team as the Amazons, the modern age Amazons, because it's really a combat field, where it's challenge after challenge, financial challenge, because we have to rent the pyramids, because of course the government has so many different things to deal with that culture is not really a priority. So we have to do it on our own through private funding, which is also not very easy. But I think like every year, one of the close people to Art D'Egypte is also our lawyer. And he was always telling me, Nadine, do you realize that the first year you had 3 logos and now you have like 50 logos. So this is a testament to how many people believe in your story. And I believe that year after year, this initiative grew. It's a huge family. And I say it takes the whole world. It does not take a village or a person. And I couldn't have done it without all these people around me, all this support. But the challenges are immense. The challenges on the site are incredible. If you see the behind the scenes, you'll say, oh my God, they're insane. The forklifts, the cranes, we have 150 workers per day. We have only 10 days working 24 hours to create this huge manifestation with a lot of limitations, of course. But again, I think what makes it work every year, some people might call me crazy. Some people might say, okay, she's a hopeless romantic. But I really believe that God's sends us angels. We're a team of 15 people doing the work of 1,000 people. So we definitely have hidden hands around us. So all the gods are in our favor. Ancient Egyptian gods, the Greek gods, all kinds of gods are there. But the challenges are incredible because it looks like a construction site. You literally have cranes and forklifts. You have artworks that are 5 meters by 13 meters. It's a UNESCO site, so we have to protect the space. So we actually have a protection layer and 50 centimeters of sand from outside of the pyramids, and then we put the installation. There's no electricity, so we have to work with generators, lighting, electricians. It's a huge, huge undertaking. We have 2 female engineers on the team. And again, I stand for women and the power of women. And I think we're doing this really well in the GCC. A lot of women are there, empowering other women. We're literally a team of women and really pushing boundaries and breaking through the glass ceiling and then going up and finding another glass ceiling to break through. I must say that I've cried so many times. Doors have been shut all the time. Most of the time I sleep 5 hours a day. No weekends on so many months without a weekend. So it is a big challenge from all sides. And also to not only the public sector, but also for the private sector to understand the importance of supporting cultural initiatives. It was also a first, why would we do that? I mean, we want to support a singer or, but people wouldn't really support cultural events. What is important is that we showed the world that those cultural events have created cultural tourism. So even in times of COVID, we've had international visitors that came into Egypt, booked hotels, that went up the Nile, that talked positively about Egypt. The PR value has been insane. It exceeds $15 million a year in every event, which is an incredible value. We've attracted media from around the world. Would I have ever thought that CNN would make an interview with us and they would come look for us? Like Forbes, CNN, the media coverage has been incredible. And all this is organic coverage. We can't even afford a PR company. This is also very important. The content is so rich that it doesn't really, it talks for itself. The objectives are multiple. Cultural tourism and reviving the proper tourism that used to come to Egypt and bringing those people back. Some of them were my parents' friends and they came to our exhibitions. They hadn't come for a long time. So this is very important because this is one of the things that makes it sustainable. The second thing is also democratizing art and giving a platform for artists and the audience to interact. Of course, the educational part through all the public talks that we do, through our YouTube channel, for instance, our podcast. All of these are different forms of awareness to all the young people to see and to understand more about different disciplines of art. I must say that I owe so much to the artists, whether Egyptian artists that understood the value of what we're doing, that stood by us and believed in our story from day one. And of course, all the international artists, without them, we wouldn't be here today. Because honestly, in our case, it's so different. It's not a typical exhibition where the artist is just part of it from the beginning. The artists are literally our partners. They're part of this initiative from the very beginning. They believe in what we're doing. They believe in the power of the place. And we do this together. It's not a curator-artist normal relationship. It's more than that. It's a real partnership. And I think this is why it has so much impact worldwide. So again, the challenges of the space, the challenges, the financial challenges, the permits and everything that is official. It's so unorthodox. not something that is common. So it's really completely disruptive. So this is also weird. Why? Why is she doing this? This has been the story of my life. Whether for me personally, who are you? What are you doing? Why aren't you a gallery? Everyone wants to put you in a mold. And when you don't fit the mold, it just intimidates so many people. I don't want to be a gallery. I don't want to be, it's a different platform. So this is also very challenging, is to when you're different or when you think differently in a different way and something is very disruptive and very uncommon, the challenges are times 100. And you're literally, and when you're pioneering in something, you literally have all the weight on your shoulders and you're going uphill with a huge rock. The emotional validation you get from, okay, those were all the challenges, yet the opening night is like insane. The reward of, oh my God, this really worked. How? We had financial challenges, side challenges, shipping challenges, all of that. And then you see this come out to the light. What is also very interesting, and this is something along the way, is that we started involving so many different sectors in the society. One of them was factories. So we created a concept of factory residency. And then that was only for the local artists. So a local artist that would need a marble sculpture, we would work with the marble factory. And then year on year, when we started working with international artists, we said, okay, guys, we have amazing factories. Why don't you produce the artwork locally? And since then, maybe 50% of the artwork you see is actually done in Egypt by international artists and done in Egypt. And in so many cases, the international artists use the same suppliers for later on. This is also insane. And I think the journey, as I say, it's really not about the opening or, the end result. It's about the journey. The team, we laugh, we cry, we yell, but at the end, we're one big family. Not only that, but the things that happen to us is insane. Who would have thought that Michael Bloomberg will be one of the people that would come to our exhibition, and would be one of our supporters? It was also, I would have never in my wildest dreams imagined that would happen. We had Pharrell Williams, for instance, attend one of our exhibitions. And I mean, he knew more about ancient Egypt than I did, I must admit. So many people from around the world, from royalty to actors to people in the film business. It's such an amazing initiative that brings people together and we make magic. This is usually every year a magical moment that you cannot describe. For me, art is everything. I think we created Culturvator since we became a case study to so many countries that wanted to do the same thing using heritage and art and having this fusion between old and new. We decided to create a cultural platform since I believe in multidisciplinary forms of art and design. And I think culture cannot be sectioned. You cannot have visual arts, cinema, design. It's all intertwined, really. And throughout the years, you will see that most of our exhibitions is a big mix of all these things. And this is what I truly believe in and stand for. So Culturvator was born out of the need to, put all this together and create a consultancy platform that is actually based in Dubai. We've taken on projects in Saudi, for instance, that was very interesting. We've done an exhibition in Greece, in Athens, that was quite close to my heart because it's Tale of Two Cities, telling the tale and the ties between Alexandria and Athens. We've also worked with art and design, so I merged artists and designers together to create installations, and that was a great initiative. I believe that this cannot be sectioned. So we've also worked with Dior. The whole Dior thing also came through art because in 2021, one of our amazing artists had a project to do a Lady Dior art bag. So we had a call with Dior. They had never been to Egypt, and we decided to do a Lady Dior art bag for Forever Is Now. Just for Forever Is Now, it was we were unveiling it. It was a challenge because it wasn't the time for it, so they had to fast track doing it. And we unveiled it at the pyramids in October 2021. We had a surprise visit of the CEO of Dior at that time, Pietro Beccari, and he was fascinated by the pyramids. That day, he said, okay, Nadine, would you help us do a fashion show here at the pyramids? And I took on the challenge. I don't know how. It was one of the most beautiful fashion shows that happened after in December. And it was an incredible journey. Like for us, the whole team and everyone, they involved everyone and locally, you know, most of the production was done locally. So it was an incredible experience. So that's what I think. I think through art, one, you meet like-minded people. Again, you meet people that understand the value of not working only for you, but of leaving a legacy, leaving an impact, working with different communities. The more and more you collaborate, the more and more you involve people from different disciplines, I believe that it's just easier for the universe to connect to this energy. And I think it connects to people worldwide. I mean, would I have ever thought that I took an online course at Harvard and then I sent to my professor about Art D'Egypte and I asked him to be on our board and to write in our catalog, and he accepted. And after all these years, I'll be giving a talk at Harvard. Louvre, the same thing, you know, would I have ever thought in my wildest dreams that the Louvre will be with us? Also, we've had, through the French ambassador, he had invited the president of the Centre Pompidou, Laurent Lebon, which is someone I really value. And he came to our exhibition and he's seen what we're able to do. So this is incredible. All those synergies, meeting people from around the world. Almost every year we have a visit either from Tate or last year we had the Metropolitan. So it's incredible. This from an initiative, from a person to this incredible platform that is just pushing boundaries and going worldwide. From personal experience, there's always a solution. There's always a solution to any problem. Perseverance, perseverance, perseverance. Never give up. Really, the challenges may look immense. It takes years of sweat, tears, blood, whatever. It's never a quick win. You cannot go for a quick win. Always take the long road, the long trip. One, you will have an amazing time along the journey and enjoy every day because the journey is definitely incredible. The more you do to others and to different communities and the more you involve people around you, the more this will live on for years and years and the better it will be. So definitely think differently. Think of social enterprise. Don't think just me.